Hi, I did an open house yesterday and I had a lot of interesting conversations, good and bad. People seem to just want to deal with the listing agent to make an offer. And one person said they could not get a hold of the listing agent. The listing agent would not get back to them. Sometimes listing agents don't always want to deal with the buyer directly. They want the buyer to come with a representation with a buyer's agent. Because in Texas, you can't do dual representation. And some people will say, well, I see it happen all the time. What happens is there's an intermediary situation that happens. And the problem with an intermediary situation is that you have to sign a contract and that says you're doing this situation. But what happens is you can no longer, as an agent, you can no longer represent your seller or the buyer in negotiations. You can pass them the papers to sign and fill out, but you can't do the real holding hands, walking through the steps and, the negotiations. And I know from experience that you start letting just the lay people who don't know the real estate laws, are not experienced and educated in negotiations, deals fall apart, emotions get in the way. It is a very, very intense situation, and you really want a separate person as the buyer and a separate person as the seller, as a real estate agent during this situation. Now, if you get a lawyer to handle the situation, that's okay. If you've been buying or selling houses like you're an investor, or you just know your stuff, or you were in the past a real estate agent, then you're going to have a better idea of what's going on. But you may not know the most current laws and rules according to that state or to that current date, because things are always changing. So just be aware. And the other thing is, people think if they go straight to the listing agent to make an offer that they're going to get a better deal. It does not work that way. I have this happen so many times, and people who have cash or say that they have cash think that they have a better advantage, when a lot of times I find that sometimes they can say they have cash, but the reality is a whole other story. So just note that the other thing about intermediary is form is also for people, let's say the buyer's agent and the listing agent are both with the same broker. They will still have to sign an intermediary form because the intermediary is for the same broker. The brokers usually don't have an issue with it because there are still separate agents. And the chances of those separate agents, knowing each other and really wanting to do anything to be in conflict in the service of their client is, very, very minimal. So by law, they still have to sign that paper, even though there's two people representing. So you're still getting separate representation, but that form will still need to be signed. And just know that in the long run, it is better to get a buyer's agent to help you through the process of buying a home than going straight to the listing agent. Good luck.